Hello, everybody. My name is Ray. Welcome to the Evangelical Dark Web. Today, we're going to do a follow-up on the Cameron Bertuzzi video that I did last week, which got a lot of attention, especially from Catholics. The Catholics seem to have discovered the Evangelical Dark Web, and I'm very grateful for it. I'm very grateful for it because, unwittingly they drove a lot of other people who weren't Catholic to the Evangelical Dark Web because that's how the magical YouTube algorithms work. So, very thankful that they discovered this content, and I do not regret anything I said in that video. I stand by it. I doubled down on it, and we're just going to do a quick follow-up on Cameron Bertuzzi because the issue has been raised because I'm saying that he's using Benny Hinn tactics is essentially my argument in begging for money. He's using the threat of closing his ministry down as an ability to close the sale. This is a classic sales tactic. This is also a classic propaganda tactic, dating back to, say, World War II, when the German government floated the idea that the Germans could lose. So this is a sales tactic of, the deal could be off the table. Support now. You're closing the sale now. It's a sales tactic. That's what it is. It's a sales tactic when Cameron Bertuzzi does it. It's a sales tactic when Benny Hinn does it. It's a sales tactic when Paula White does it. Protestants know a little thing or two about these sales tactics, but the Catholics really bit down hard on them. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this follow-up. You can gain over $1,000 per month net revenue by switching to Catholicism. That sounds like a Geico commercial because it kind of is. So, capturing Christianity, when I did the initial video, he had 564 patrons on Patreon. 564. I believe the earliest that I saw the number was 511, which would adjust the math quite a bit. But nonetheless, this increase is a minimum, if you do the math, based on his lowest Patreon setting to the less the 5% that Patreon takes out. That's a minimum of $1,273 just by, switching to Catholicism, making that video. In order to make the $3,000 net loss or monthly operating loss that he's talking about, he would have needed an average from this increase, from the increase in subscribers of 268 new additional patrons, he would have needed an average of $11.79 per patron in order to have met that $3,000 deficit that he is previously losing, or says that he was losing. Again, I wouldn't doubt that he's feigning the financial stress of capturing Christianity as a ministry. I wouldn't doubt that for a second. But let's just take him at his word and just assume that he's financially irresponsible, because if you're operating a YouTube ministry at a loss of $3,000 a month, you probably are financially irresponsible. And yeah, that's it. It's just a little follow-up. So a lot of people, a lot of the Protestants were a little skeptical that this would work out for him. Some people thought that this would kill his channel, but it turns out the opposite is true. So very interesting story. But again, I'm not shocked by it because, here's the snotty thing I could say is that Catholics are desperate for a win here. And the desperation is that it's easier to defend Cameron Bertuzzi than it is to defend Pope Francis, who's a heretic. And a lot of the Catholics who came in the comments section, have standard Catholic arguments. They say that a strong Protestant will become Catholic, which is kind of disproven by the fact that Cameron Bertuzzi was previously a pretty weak Protestant. We're talking about a Tim Keller fanboy. Not really someone I would hang out with. And again, if he had switched from Catholicism to Protestantism, I don't think the money would work the same way, but it wouldn't really change my view of him. I just think he's in this for the money. That's my opinion. I do think he genuinely is convinced by the Catholic arguments. I don't know why, because the Catholics have retconned their own history. They think that they're the church that everyone else has split from. But in reality, in history, let's just do a little history right now. The Catholics split from the Eastern Orthodox, not the other way around. 1054 is the date of the Great Schism. But in reality, the Great Schism wasn't fully solidified. And by the way, 1054, Catholics' fault for that. That was totally a Catholic boo-boo there that they caused. But the actual schism between the East and the Western Church really was solidified in 1204 with the Fourth Crusade, in which Catholics, or Romanists, sacked the city of Constantinople and plundered it and sent the plunder back to a lot of various sources, or a lot of, out west, basically. Some of it went to the Venetians, I believe. Others went to the Rome and stuff like that. But anyway, long story short is that the Pope did not excommunicate the people who committed the Fourth Crusade, as it's called, or sacked Constantinople. They were initially going to be excommunicated, but the Pope kind of reneged on doing that and was appeased later on. So that's what solidified the Great Schism between the Eastern and Western churches. Anything before that was, a little bit more salvageable. You could have rectified the situation, in my opinion. And it wasn't fully felt until 1204. So that's just one lie that the Catholics tell themselves. Obviously, the retroactive application of the Pope, going back from Pope Francis to Peter, that's been retroactively applied. There's not a church history of these people being elected Pope in the early church. It just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist for a couple hundred years, really. So that's just some of them. Obviously, we could talk about Immaculate Conception, but this is not a Debate Me Bro channel. It just isn't. Nothing wrong if you do a Debate Me Bro channel. I'm just not doing that. This is a Christian news and commentary channel. That's what Evangelical Dark Web is. And occasionally, and by occasionally I mean a lot, especially on a live stream, we'll drop a lot of hot takes or a little bit of spicy content, a lot of shade on bad theologies. A lot of times dispensationalism gets it. A lot of times R2K gets it. And then this time Catholics got it, or the Romanist got it, because, Catholic just means universal. So the universal church is all the body of believers, the universal body of believers. That's the Catholic Church, lowercase c. The Roman Catholic Church, different animal, different beast, you could call it. But anyway, that's just a quick update on the Cameron Bertuzzi situation, because I think it's fascinating that his sales tactics worked hard. They worked really well on the Catholic audience. So anyway, if you like this kind of content, subscribe to the Evangelical Dark Web if you are new. Otherwise, drop a like button. And if you really like this kind of content, evangelicaldarkweb.org is where you can go. There's a free newsletter that's linked in the description. And there's also the Patreon-like system that we built at evangelicaldarkweb.org/join. You can support for as little as $5 a month or give a one-time donation and support this kind of ministry. All goes to the ministry, not to me at all. Separate bank account and all that other stuff. Let me know what you think about what I think in the comment section below, and I will catch you on the next one.